ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. We have a really special show for you tonight. I have had some of the greatest voices in the world that I've had the privilege to talk to. I have receipts about Shayna Steele. Last album that she put out, everyone, all the cool kids on Broadway, all the singers were out posting away, posting, and I kept seeing this, watch me fly, downloaded, saved as a favorite. When I was asked if I know this voice, yes, anyone who likes music and knows a voice knows this next voice. So listen, I'm not going to call her Sarah. I know her name is Shay. I listened to the album. I'm on it. I'm here. Shayna Steele is here.
I love it.
Welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Some people have just got it. They've just got that voice, that tone, that attitude. You've just got it.
Oh, man.
Because if I could fan out for 1 minute and then I promise I'll get serious.
Okay.
You could teach pitch, you can teach diction, you can teach how to teach any, but to have that tone and that, just melt me up and put me to sleep. I'm done.
Can I quote you on that?
Please.
I need to put that on my melt me up and put me to sleep.
If you're unaware what we're going to talk about today, besides an amazing body of work and all the work that you've done, everyone, while we're talking, go get Gold Dust, listen, stream, save it, and find and follow. You can go to ShaynaSteele.com. You can stream it wherever music is heard. But to get started, Mississippi in the house, how did music start and enter your life?
My dad was an incredible vocalist, and we used to sing together all the time, and we did musical theater together. When the last play that we did together was The Wiz, where he was the lion and I was Dorothy.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with that. And if all of my Broadway friends we're on the Broadway Podcast Network as well as on YouTube right now, they may know you from your Broadway career. She does a lot more than Welcome to the 60s, as we know, but you have had quite the musical theater career as well. So how do you, from musical theater to background vocals to a solo project to now putting out albums, how is that journey? Was it intentional? Did it change as time went on? What was the original goal?
Definitely wasn't a linear career choice whatsoever. I'd had no intentions of going to music school and quitting music school and going to Broadway and quitting Broadway and it all was kind of happening at the same time. It's like when I moved to New York, I knew I wanted to go back to school at some point. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And I knew that I wanted to be an artist that whole time. So I feel like everything kind of happened by accident. Even the background singing gig, it was not something that I was looking to do. When the Bette Midler folks called me, because I already, Camila was already singing for Bette, and she's like, you should come in and audition. Oh, there we are. Oh, my girl. And it was just like, I was just thrust into that world of BGVs, and then it was Rihanna and Kelly Clarkson, and then like everybody, which is great. I guess whatever career field I went into, I was making a good impression because people just kept hiring me. And then I'm like, okay, this is not what I wanted to do though. Like I want to be an artist. And so through all of this, I was always making records. I was always doing shows as a solo artist, but I never really could figure out how I was going to make it a career and like actually make a living.
Yes. Well, to speak about background vocals, I had quite a long relationship with a very amazing background vocalist, and I'm very familiar with that world.
Yeah.
It is a world of buses and planes and trains, and you're on someone else's schedule, and someone else says we're on tour and these are the days you're gone.
Yep.
And you sacrifice your family, your friends. I know that he used to be gone for 10 months and come home, and the people in LA would forget his family, friends, like you are on the road living for someone else. And what does it feel like now to be in charge? You are, people come to you, your symphony shows, your club dates, your theater gigs, you make your schedule. You are now, you're the name on the marquee.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great and it's also challenging because it doesn't happen unless I make it happen. There's no I mean I have great agents. Obviously they're booking me gigs and incredibly grateful for them. But if I don't show up or I don't say yes to them, then it's not going to happen and nobody gets paid.
Right.
So it's a lot of responsibility. In the beginning, and I'm sure that other artists feel this way, or maybe they don't. Just my own insecurities as a solo artist. In the beginning, I just felt like I wasn't worthy to ask for a certain rate, to be like, this is what I'm worth. If I'm going to come do a concert for 90 minutes, like I know that my vocal gymnastic, like what I produce vocally and physically in my body, I am giving 1,000% on stage, and that's worth something. So, I think like getting to a point of like worthiness and feeling and also still being gracious and grateful, but also saying, but this is what I'm worth. That was challenging because as a Broadway actor or even as a background vocalist, I mean, you still have to, ask for your worth, but there's someone telling you where to be and what time, and a paycheck goes into your direct deposit every Thursday, and the agents take their 10%. It was actually simpler. I don't want to say it's easy to be
I,
umbrella, but it was a simple, and now it's much more complicated.
you get your equity contract, you sign your paper, and the money goes in the bank, and that's it.
Show up, do your 8 shows a week, take care of yourself,
You go on
hard.
tour, here's your day rate, here's your per diem, and the money's in the bank.
Yeah.
Now you're a business. You are running a full-fledged business on your own.
Yes.
Well, congrats, because a lot of people try
Thank
to
you.
make the transition, and you have done it in a beautiful way. And it's funny because your album that we're talking about, Gold Dust, your
Hmm.
album, the people, David Cook, who has written a bunch of stuff on here. David, he works with Taylor Swift. The
Yeah.
Shoshana Bean out, talk about Hairspray. The show album is gorgeous, gorgeous. So I get your album and his songwriting and what he's able to do paired with you and your artistry and voice.
Yes.
Originals on this album are just amazing.
Thank you.
What is your
Thank you.
process like to write, and how do you find material?
Well, Dave, as far as like covers, if I'm doing a cover of something, because obviously I'm covering songs, some of them really popular, and we've completely flipped them. And that's always been the case. I've never wanted to do a repeat arrangement of something. But as far as writing originals, a lot of the writing was me coming with an idea, like as far as like a subject matter or even a lyric and a melody. And I just record it and we just kind of sit at the piano. It always starts at the piano because I really am a fan of if the song is not well received with just a vocal and either a guitar or piano, then it's not worth it at all. It's crap, which is a lot of crap is out there. So,
Well, you cover everything from Radiohead to Ray Charles to Cole Porter and on. So
yeah,
it's like you said, songs but with brand new arrangements. And you're
yeah.
a pretty kick-ass group of musicians playing on your album.
Oh, like, they're amazing. I always thank them on stage just to be like, "I can't believe they're even available and want to play with me," but we have such a wonderful time together as a group.
Well, here's a track listing on the back of the album if you
Yeah,
want to see a little bit and pieces of it. Ooh, goodbye makes ooh, it was the second that song starts, the chord structure of that song and your
yeah.
first lyrics. I was on a family reunion in South
Oh,
Carolina. It was my beach repeat, just all in the fields, have a drink and just cry it out and think about life.
oh,
Beautiful. The album
thank you.
is a beautiful journey.
Thank
When
you.
you hit the road and you start promoting this album more and playing gigs, how do you build a show? What's your rule for giving the people an entertaining evening, a beginning, middle, and end? You come from theater, so there's a drama side of you. I know it's in there. So how do you give people
Oh,
an
yeah,
experience?
honey.
Yeah,
Well, I started touring this album in March, so I've done quite a bit of touring already. I'm gonna do some East Coast dates in September, and then I'll head overseas next year. So as far as preparing for a tour, it's usually a lot of paperwork, a lot of organizing and budgeting and whatnot. But that's boring stuff. But as far as a performance goes, I don't. The set is usually decided uh, right before the show. Um, I base the set on the venue that I'm playing, who the audience is, and we kind of adjust based on what I'm getting from the audience. I really like each show to be individually tailored to who is in front of me. Whether I'm playing a festival and it's outdoors or if I'm playing an intimate jazz club, it's just like you kind of have to cater to that. Sometimes I'm doing two sets back to back and they're turning over the audience. Sometimes I'm doing an hour set and an hour set for the same audience. So I could be singing 18 songs or I'm singing 7 songs. It also depends on banter, what I talk about. I don't script it. I am not a scripted act. It is not a cabaret show. Like, I tried that when I first left Broadway, and it just didn't feel authentic to my artistry. So, you get new dialogue and a new show every time.
And that makes us want to buy tickets every time you're in town. So come on, East Coast. I'm ready to be there. I will be seeing it.
Yeah.
When you put this album together and you made this collection, we'll talk about
Mhm.
Gold Dust in particular. Whoa, that's some vocal right there. um, Stevie Nicks is quite the vocalist herself, one of the most gorgeous voices and
Yeah.
storytelling of all time.
Yeah.
Why this song in particular, and how'd you come up with that arrangement?
I have to give credit to Dave for picking the song. As far as figuring out the arrangement, usually if I pick a cover, the first thing I want to find out is, has this been covered multiple times by multiple artists? A lot of times I don't want to cover it if that's the case, if it's been overdone. And it hadn't been. I also look for certain things, like I had never seen it covered by a Black woman. I had never seen it covered where they changed the chord structure away from the original, and I really didn't wanna do it that way. So we went through several revisions of it, and it was, we were in a rehearsal with the band kind of running the song, and I said to Dave, "I kinda wanted to have this Ike and Tina vibe, how she, like, completely redid, um, Big Wheel, keep on turning. I can't what is it? Proud Mary. And I was just like, you listen to the original Proud Mary, and I'm just imagining what was Tina Turner thinking when she heard that, like, "No, we're gonna do it like this instead." And that's kind of that was the inspiration, was Tina's Proud Mary.
Well, you did. I now that you say that, we can all listen to that, and you'll
Yeah,
hear the build and how and it's so different than the original, and so
yeah.
great. And then I was reading a little
Thank
bit
you.
about the Bloodline, which was the first single from the album, and a
Mhm,
song that was written in a very a time and
mhm.
for a reason that was. What would you like to explain? Tell us a little bit about the inspiration.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was written in quarantine. I mean, this whole album was created in quarantine. So we had a lot of time on our hands. And my fellow Dynamite Camila, we co-wrote the tune together. It started with the two of us kind of coming up with the concept. It was inspired. Uh, I hate the words inspired. I mean, it was motivated by the uh, George Floyd video, which was heartbreaking, and we all saw. And we didn't want to write. Of course, a lot of people were mad, and especially artists were putting out music, protest music and protest rap and hip hop was like really like thriving because people were PO'd, as was I. I was heartbroken, and the two of us as Black women, we just said we should write a song about hope and joy and how we rise from the ashes as Black people through it all, through slavery, through civil rights, through what Jim Crow, whatever. And I was just like, let's write about the very, very strong shoulders that we stand on as Black people of today. So it's more about
And
perseverance.
and it is and your story about perseverance and
Mhm.
in that time, firstly taking the song is gorgeous,
Thank you.
but
Thank
you go to school, Berkeley School of Music, which is, you're no slouch to get to Berkeley School of Music, and then
you.
you decide to go back to school.
Yes.
Why was that so important, and for you as an art, I mean, you already had a career, you did Broadway, check, tour the world, check, albums out, check. Why was it so important for you to sit down and make sure you got that piece of paper and you finished that degree?
Because I need to finish what I started. And I was in college. I went to this University of Southern Mississippi for 1 year, and then I started working, and I thought, "Oh, I will go work and travel internationally, and then I'll go back." And then I moved to New York kind of by accident. It was my best friend in Philly was like, "You should go to New York and do some auditions." And I booked Rent like a few months later. So it was like, well, I guess I'll go back to school later. This is way more fun.
True. Um,
So we had this time, and I thought, oh, well, this is a great time to go and finish my music degree.
yes. Do you call LA home? Are you in New York?
Oh,
Where
I'm in New York.
you're
No,
in
New
New York?
York. Yeah,
It's so funny because singer communities, you talk about Camilla. Camilla, if you don't know, Broadway, Taylor Swift, blah, 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 etc.
extraordinaire.
Extraordinary voice,
The
extraordinary
best.
voice. And the theater, like, we've had a lot of famous background vocalists. If it's Melanie
Mm.
Taylor, if it's Lisa Fisher, if it's like
Melanie.
from the greatest voices of all time that have been
Hmm.
with everyone. There's such a story behind the people on Broadway that are
Mm.
doing 8 shows a week, the people that are behind your
Mm.
favorite artists out there doing, and then to take the step forward, like in 20 Feet from Stardom, etc. When you see, I'm going to take a step forward, it's very
Yeah.
scary. How do you push past artists to push past the vulnerability to say, I have something to say as well? I have a voice. Not everyone has the courage to do it. Where
Yeah.
do you get the strength and courage to do it from?
I honestly, I have to drum it up every day that I wake up. I'm not gonna lie and say like, "Oh, I'm just so confident." Like every day, and I have like an ongoing text thread with several other artists that shall not be named. Because it's just we have these private conversations, just the grueling touring schedule and people not showing up to shows, venues canceling on us, or just getting letters of, "Yeah, you sold 4 tickets. Sorry, we're canceling your show," even though you've bought plane tickets and you've promoted it and whatnot. That side of it makes you want to quit every time. And I had another Morgan James, who I'm such a huge fan of, which I'm sure you know and have heard of. She said to me, oh God, this really just sits with me, and I try to remember it every time. She said all of the work that we put in as artists to promote and put on a tour, she's like, it's so grueling, but the 90 minutes that you're on stage doing the music for an audience is totally worth it. Totally worth it. And that I do take those words to heart. So yeah,
And we're so grateful that you do.
yeah.
As a little artist myself, doing New York shows or LA or wherever, I say sometimes I feel like I do social media first, and sometimes I sing.
Mm,
Like we have to promote and sell ourselves, but
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
right. 90 minutes, it's all about the music,
It
and
really is. And it's pure joy. I just feel absolute joy when I'm singing and bringing music to people. Yeah.
well, people out here, where are you? Come on down. You need to go to ShaynaSteele.com. You could get a T-shirt.
I'm still not selling out shows, so somebody.
No, we are going to sell. We are going to sell.
That's right, it's happening.
You better stream Gold Dust wherever music is heard. You better follow on Instagram so you can stay up to date and go to the website. So when the
Oh,
dates
that
are
was spelled wrong.
oh,
Sorry.
let's
Oh,
fix it.
it's there's an A missing in my name at Shayna Steele.
My apologies.
It's okay.
I you, we're gonna edit
I
it.
just saw SHYNA and I was like, oh no.
No, don't follow that person. Well, they may be
No,
related. We have to follow this.
that
This is what we
person.
need to follow. I'm following right now, and you're on my workout playlist. So when I'm on the elliptical machine in Edgewater, New Jersey, know that I'm thinking of you.
I
I
love it.
come on, let's go. When you're ready for the East Coast, we'll be promoting and sharing as well because you are an artist.
Thank
That
you.
is a special instrument right here with something to say. So everybody, make sure you listen and follow. Yes, it's a pleasure. So nice to meet you. Thank you
Oh,
for
you
sharing your art
too.
with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.